Quarantine boogie. Quarantine boogie. Boom. What up, everyone? This is Lunch with Looney and Lars. I, of course, am your host, Lars. My co-host, Looney, is here with me as well. Luna, how are you? Say something to the people. Say hello. She's only here for the streets, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's the only thing she cares about.
That's why we're all here.
What's that?
We're all here for the treat.
We're all here for the treats. Now, speaking of treats, we have a treat of a guest here today, ladies, gentlemen, listeners. If you're watching right now, you're seeing him on screen, and you're like, my, oh my. Is that the world's most interesting man sitting in front of a fire? And it may just be. Our guest today, he is so many accolades, but we're going to get into it. You're going to learn so much, but I'm going to give him one hell of an intro right now. I'm going to switch the view here. There we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today on Lunch with Looney and Lars, he is a Toronto-based actor, improviser, comedian, MC, host, quiz master, so many things. Been on a bunch of television shows, been on a bunch of stage shows. His resume is too long to list, but he is for sure one of the funniest guys I have ever had the pleasure of working with during the stage. Give it up for Steve Hobbs, everybody. Boom.
I'm loving the intro music. Thanks, buddy. How you doing, Lars?
Pretty good, man. Not too shabby. I'm excited to have lunch with you. And as I was saying in the pre-show, you've already won Best Set. Your set deck? Who did your set deck? We've really been upping the production value here on the Lunch with Looney and Lars.
You know, it's funny. Ever since the whole epidemic, the pandemic has started, I kind of panicked. I live in a basement apartment, so I've really just been breaking into as many homes as possible. And I found a lovely fireplace in this one.
Wow, it's an interesting strategy. A lot of people are saying stay at home, but they didn't say whose home. They didn't clarify.
You know, I grew up with home is where the heart is. So if my heart happens to be breaking into somebody else's domicile, then I guess that's my home. So,
I mean, they're not down here.
They're not. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Look at
it's empty. It's just me. Just me and my old roommate fireplace.
I'm going to switch. So just so you know, production-wise, I toggle back and forth between speaker mode and gallery mode. So sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't even know. I can only see myself right now. I should know this more, but.
Classic Steve Hobbs, just looking at it like, oh my, I am a handsome podcast guest.
That's a little better.
Feel free to stoke the fire at any point behind you.
Does it need stoking? I thought that I had it fully stoked, but you know what? Why don't we get the first stoke in right now?
Okay.
Right? Now, the trick to a good fire is got to be careful with the screen. You don't want to burn yourself. And then you get the poker there, and you know, not unlike in like a Words with Friends game or a Facebook thing, you don't want to go too heavy with the pokes, not too quickly. You want to just kind of gently just jostle out some emotions into the back there, stoke it a little, and then seal her back up, you know, for a rainy day.
In my head, I was thinking, how funny would it be if you went to poke it and you just shattered a flat screen TV? Like it was just a wicked TV, and it just like the whole screen shattered.
Oh, there was a 1 in 3 chance that I would catch fire just trying to do that bit.
Right.
But we made it work. That's my angle. Can you see me?
Your frame looks amazing. You don't need to. You win. You win. The screenshot of this episode when I posted to social is going to be the best. I mean, I got this, but it's just a plastic backdrop. You know, it's nothing fancy. There's just that's it.
Yeah.
Chris is pretty cool. You look pretty cool in New York. Give it up to the house band here, the band leader, virtual band.
I'm loving it. I had no idea.
Quarantine boogie, quarantine boogie.
It's good because I've got all this extra hair due to not having any hairstylists being in business right now. So it gives me, on its own, it's just too much. But when you put a little music behind it, you get to kind of like jiggle it out a little bit.
Yeah, you're getting into Kramer territory right there. How tall are you?
I think I'm there.
You got to be like 6'7", 6'8" now.
Yeah, Kramer's getting into my territory.
You can't even get headshots right now because your hair goes out the top of the frame.
Yeah, I got to go to like the legal length of paper. I got to go 8 by 15 if I want to get the full mug.
Right, so big long full scat. Yes. So first question of our lunch here is I've got it right here. We call it WFL. Do you know what that stands for?
Wings for Life, the sitcom Wings for Life from the 90s.
That is my life motto, but that is not what this stands for.
Yeah.
Good pull though. Wings for Life. Just a T-shirt, and it's a picture of who's the janitor. What's the janitor guy? Everyone's favorite.
The janitor, was that Lloyd?
Yeah.
I feel like it was Lloyd. There was the Tony Shalhoub had a character.
Right. What a great show. Give it up for Wings right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It stands for what's for lunch?
There's nothing more relatable than a bunch of pilots having a tough time in an airport terminal. So
they should bring that back right now during quarantine, and it's just a bunch of pilots. I
think they made a movie about it. It's called The Terminal.
Just a bunch of pilots in quarantine. They're all just sitting in the airport Applebee's getting drunk right now.
Yeah, I assume that's actually probably what's happening right now.
WFL does not stand for Wings for Life. It stands for What's for Lunch. What's for lunch, Steve Hobbs?
Right, this is a lunch with Looney. Looney being your dog, right?
Dog, she's right here. She's on my lap at all times. If anyone.
She in there? Oh yeah.
She's here.
How about that?
Yeah.
So you want to know what I'm eating for lunch?
It's the first question. Let's see if you get it right.
Well, first of all, I think I should clarify that I didn't actually break into this home. This was available to me through a very, very close friend. Nice big empty space, not bumping into anyone, which makes it a perfect space to have a lovely plate of kielbasa.
Nice. Kielbasa, there's nothing sweeter than kielbasa by the fire on a Friday afternoon.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I was thinking, what's the right tone for this interview? I just had like a nice show premiere with my face in it the other day. I really want people to know how professional I am.
Right.
So I grabbed the dirtiest sausage I could at one of the only stores open in the area and just went to town.
Is that convenience store kielbasa? Tell me that's Petro-Canada convenience store kielbasa.
It's debatable. It's Giant Tiger kielbasa.
Wow.
Specifically from the checkout line, they were like, what are people going to buy on their way out of this place? And that's how they're able to stay open, because they sell food as well.
You're the Giant.
They have like chocolate bars, gum, and kielbasa right at the checkout.
Are you eating all of those three at the same time? Gum, chocolate, and kielbasa.
I'm not here to dance monkey dance for you, but yeah, I was gonna work my way through this kielbasa over the interview. Yeah.
That's beautiful. You're the kielbasa king, like Tiger.
It's not all that I have for lunch though.
Kielbasa. What else you got? Keep going.
Well, when I'm done, I'm gonna wash it down with the delicious lemon meringue pie slice.
Oh man, you know why? Because Steve Hobbs turns lemons into lemon meringue pie. A lot of people full of fear and worry and depression right now. Not Steve Hobbs. Kicking back, eating kielbasa by the fire with some lemon meringue pie. Kudos to you. Fine.
Come on! Get hot!
This episode ends with you burning down the house and us watching you scream in panic. Hey, maybe you should, have you considered heating up some of that kielbasa over the fire, perhaps?
You know, there's too many moving parts. You know, also would Ernest Hemingway heat up kielbasa over the fire, or would he just carve it into his own mouth using his bare hands? I think
Good call.
Hemingway would have just gone for it.
Right, you're right. He also probably would have a mug full of whiskey. Is that what you're drinking?
Well, gentleman never tells. But I do spend a lot of time in these moments, in pandemic moments, saying WWEHD, what would Ernest Hemingway do? And this is the best I've come up with so far. So
Funny that you go WWEHD because I go WWDHD. What would David Hasselhoff do? Equal on
he'd be
the
swimming. He'd probably be swimming.
potato, right? Hemingway, Hasselhoff.
Hey, how about a little www.steve-hobbs.com, my new professional website?
Ooh, that's so interesting that you mentioned your new professional website because earlier, as I do all the time, I do a little research. I know you, I've worked with you, I've done some shows, but I always like to do some digging and some research. So I want to go first to the websites that I found first before your new professional website. Is that
What, like when you Google my name?
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
no.
Because it's so fun. Okay. But first, before we do that, we got to do a segment that we always do on the show here. And this segment, I'm queuing it up here, one of my favorite parts. This is before we check out Steve Hobbs' professional website. And my God, it is one of the most professional.
I'm already regretting plugging it.
Some people are saying it's the most professional of professional websites. You're going to see it in a minute. We're going to share the screen. But the first segment here, this is called Steve Hobbs' 1 minute life story. That's where you tell us your life story in 1 minute. Are you ready, Steve Hobbs? Don't think about it.
Right now?
You're ready. We're going to do it right now.
All right.
I'm going to pull up a timer. I'm going to share the timer on screen here with you. We're going to switch it over. Here we go. All right. Steve Hobbs' life story in 1 minute. Go.
I was born. It was a hospital. I got larger. I'm in Brampton. Brampton. I was in Brampton for a little while. Suddenly I'm in Markham. Oh man, the fields. Now there's a mall. A mall showed up. I went to school. Gifted program. Oh, I like chess. Other people don't like me as much. Oh man. I'm in high school. I used to be big, but now I'm small, but my hair is large. But I can shoot 3-pointers. I played basketball. It's grade 11. I'm social. I took an improv class. I'm not so terrible at this. Oh, boom. University. What's happening? Giant castle. Trent University. Fun. There's a river. I learned to swim. I already knew how to swim, but I learned to swim better because fast moving river. Radio broadcasting. Beep, boop, beep. Oh, Gary Bettman on the line. Don't hang up on him. Uh-oh, this didn't work. What about more improv classes? I'm loving this. Oh, I'm acting. How did acting happen? Who, what, where? Platforming a scene. Yada, yada, yada. I have a career.
You went over time. So sorry, Steve. You went 15 seconds over time.
Son of a bitch.
That was a great life story. That was one of the best life stories. Kudos to you. You're a great storyteller. I like how you just like Markham, Fields, Mall. Yeah, that was good. You just said individual words and it painted a really good picture. I like that.
I tried to picture it like you were Guy Pearce in The Time Machine. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
And you were watching like the world evolve, but instead of like civilization, you were just watching me.
Yeah.
So like, like fields are changing and buildings are breaking down, new buildings are being built up. And at the end of it, I had a job somehow.
That was great. I'm going to say also kudos to you for just throwing in gifted program, went to school, gifted program.
It was a big deal back then for me. That was a thing.
That does make 2 of us here. Also gifted.
Were you a gifty?
Yeah, it was an interesting gifty case though, because some of the testing, there was one year I took the gifted test and I failed it, and they didn't believe, like it was kind of shocking. I didn't I didn't fail it, but I turned it was like, doesn't seem like he's gifted. He didn't get it. But then when I did the in-person with a guy to explain my answers, they were like, oh, he's just thinking on a whole other level. So he's like it would be like, which one of these things didn't belong? And it would be, say it was 4 vegetables and fruit, and you pick fruit. I picked the one that was like, one of them doesn't have an X in it, or like whatever, like a different thing. Like I was deciphering the test and I was answering correctly, but a different answer than the answer that they wanted to hear.
So you were super abstract thinking, and they were like, "This guy doesn't know what a fruit is, or what a vegetable."
Exactly. Yeah. I was like, I chose this one because all the others had 4 syllables, and this one only has 3. Duh. Like,
Yeah, I was big into spatial reasoning. I still am, which is really just now good for like puzzles or getting lost. But in the gifted program, they were like, man, this kid really knows his like orienting. It was like logic and spatial reasoning,
like moving around shapes and that kind of stuff. Like, oh, I hate those kind of tests. Those are my least favorite kind. Like,
yeah. See, that's the thing. Most people do hate them, but I was kind of like, oh, this is really great. My brain works like that. And then everyone else was like a math genius. So I was like the one guy who was like, give me those weird shapes and juxtapositions and things.
You got to be gifted too, Chris. Our band leader here is hell. They say in the business, hella gifted. You could have a legit astrophysics conversation with Chris right now, and it would make sense. And he could talk to you like he's a scientist.
A mad scientist.
Right.
I was gifted as well as a child.
Oh, look at this! A whole cast full of weird gifted dudes.
We're basically X-Men. By the way, I didn't finish my half of one of the questions earlier. I am not such a gentleman. I am eating gruel. I'm having some breakfast for lunch. This is oatmeal with a little bit of peanut butter in it. This is my post-workout. I had a workout at 12, and then I'm just eating.
Oh, Lars.
So I'm Cadbury eggs for chocolate,
yes.
Minerals, and beer.
That's my kind of lunch. There we go. Yeah, Lars, you're not eating a lunch. You're eating like what I would bait a mouse with.
Well, you've uncovered me. Yeah. I also do have coffee. I got some nice Maxwell House. Maxwell House.
You're way too healthy for any kind of a quarantine. That's for
Oh, wait, there's more. This, Mr. Hobbs, these are my BioSteel Sports Nutrition Sport Greens. It's like, I eat my vegetables in powder form. They're not a sponsor. They are not a sponsor, but I am telling them right now, see how good I could be doing this if you were a sponsor. There they are right there. You guys can hardly see that, I'm sure. Right? There you go.
Just a moment. The fire needs a little stroke.
Welcome to Lunch with Looney and Lars, brought to you by BioSteel Sports Nutrition Sports Greens. High performance, superfoods, you got them. Also brought to you by Fireplaces. That's great. That's cool. You all right? Don't burn it down. Okay, we got to continue. I'm going to share my screen here. So for listeners at home, you're not going to be able to see this, but we're going to walk you through it. So don't worry. So in doing my research, as I always do, Steve,
yeah,
I Googled you and I pulled up all your websites. Seems like you have several other side careers that I didn't know about.
I don't like this game. I think I know where this is going.
I don't like talk about them. Can you see my screen?
No, that guy.
So congratulations, listeners, viewers. Steve Hobbs apparently is running for lieutenant governor. He's a Democrat. What I would like you to do right now is you look like a guy that could easily be running for Democratic governor of maybe Montana, if you look at where you are right now, or maybe Wyoming, maybe somewhere like Maine. You could be from Maine or Vermont as well.
Wait, I could, or this guy, this version of me?
This version of you. I know you're not this Steve Hobbs. You guys, unless you need to update your headshot, I think, a little bit. Your hair is different, I think.
Yeah.
But
Well, I don't have a quarantine headshot, and I definitely don't have this guy's headshot.
what I would like for you is I would like you to say this guy's speech as if you were the Steve Hobbs running for governor.
Okay.
I want you to run right now. I want you to run for lieutenant governor and say these words.
All right, Lieutenant Governor.
Your campaign.
State of Washington, Democrat. Okay.
This is your commercial. Feel free to use props.
All right, here we go. Hello, State of Washington. I'm Steve Hobbs. I know what you're thinking. Why can't things be different? You know, we spend so much time doing nothing but the same thing. When was the last time that you used your spatial reasoning? If Steve Hobbs was lieutenant governor in the good state of Washington, I promise you that every river would be perfectly placed just the right distance from the nearby tributaries or suburbs. That's right. Also, have you noticed, are your closets not full of enough blue denim shirts? When you've got a Steve Hobbs in the lieutenant governor's office, that's right, I would have my own office. You'd have a whole bunch of blue denim shirts showing up in your TV on the regular. In fact, I'd make sure there was a blue denim shirt with brown buttons available for all. Steve Hobbs for lieutenant governor. Spatial reasoning, blue shirt.
Boom. You got my vote, sir.
Huh?
You have my vote. Now I want you to just do it as you, Steve Hobbs, but say this guy's words from his website.
Say his words, but as myself?
Yeah. Like you're the guy, you are the Steve Hobbs running.
I didn't exactly stray that far from me the first time.
That was amazing.
There was a lot of me in the first
I was impressed.
All right.
I would vote for you.
So this one is me, my reading voice, but with his words.
Say this guy. Just.
All right. I'm excited to announce my campaign to be the next lieutenant governor of the state of Washington. First, let me thank Cyrus Habib for his service to our state. Cyrus, you're beautiful, baby. At this critical time, we need steady leadership. The words are too small. In our statewide offices, I'd be honored to bring back my track record of results in the state Senate, my military background. I'm a military boy. My democratic values, and my lived experience as a person of color. To the office of lieutenant governor. You trapped me, Lars. Oh, Dash Steve.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Steve Hobbs, of course, running for lieutenant governor. I actually didn't trap you on purpose. I didn't realize I hadn't read ahead either, and didn't read.
That was a neat trick. I had not clocked that this person
Me neither.
was not just a white guy.
Like
the screen's too tiny. That's man.
Color. I feel like white is a color. This guy has just decided to run on the thing that is a person of color.
No.
All right, guys, vote Steve Hobbs is the lesson. And
don't vote
so I was like, wow, Steve Hobbs is running for lieutenant governor. What else does Steve Hobbs do? So then
this guy is one of the guys that makes it hard to get a website domain name in my name, by the way.
That last guy? Yeah.
He's got that guy and one other that you haven't hit yet, but I think you're going to hit him later.
Okay. So this is the next guy. Can you see him?
I see him.
Hobbs Builders.
Mm-hmm.
Can you read a paragraph of this as though you were the owner of your own building company?
Yeah, I can do that. In my voice, or as what I think this voice
whatever.
is?
Whatever. I trust your one way or the other would be hilarious. So
about us, about me, Steve Hobbs, Hobbs Builders. A believer in the idea that every project depends on the success on the smallest of details, Steve Hobbs, that's me, balances an understanding of the big picture aspects of each project with a passion for details that can define a project. Hey, he brings over 20 years of specialty building experience as just a white guy. And a discerning eye, and a commitment to teamwork to each project. Before founding Hobbs Builders, not to be mistaken with Bob the Builder, I get it, Bob and Hobbs, they both rhyme, but let's be real here, not the same guy. Steve began his career working on restorations of historic buildings in Philadelphia and Boston before moving to Seattle to work in construction management with Krakow Jennings. Krakow Jennings. Krakow Jennings. Krakow Jennings. In 2014, Steve moved to the Wood River Valley and his family to enjoy the intimacy of a small community, access to the outdoors, and the culture the Wood River Valley has to offer. He studied environmental studies and conservation biology at Middlebury College, which inspired a love of the outdoors and an understanding of the natural architecture around us. Armed with a passion for coordinating complex projects that involve collaboration among clients, architects, designers, and craftspeople, Steve firmly believes that precision and his finest craft, the finest craft, should be expected and celebrated in each aspect of every project. He knows the client and their entire team are integral. They're integral in the way that, I lost my place. It's too small. It would be,
That's
integral part of the project's successful progression, and that communication between all of the players is essential. Blah, blah, blah. Steve's portfolio of projects. I got some traditional stuff, some contemporary stuff. You like estate homes? I got that. Historic renovations. I'll renovate it for you no matter how old. And, condominium and high-end tenant improvements. You got something you want made better, I'll turn that condo into a Marie Kondo. That's right. Double clean. Is that her name? Marie Kondo? I don't know. I don't watch Netflix. Blah, blah, blah. Infrastructure, technical support. I'll do tech support, unplug your modem, replug in a condo. Major art installations. I got all of it for you. I live in Ketchum, Idaho. Don't try and find me. I'm off the grid. But I'm an active proponent of strong educational, athletic, and artistic opportunities for all my kids and the youth or community that may or may not be my kids. Steve enjoys cycling, hiking, skiing, and all the things outdoors in the mountains and the backcountry of Idaho.
I love that. I love that. You look like you could be living in a cabin in front of the fireplace in the backwoods of Idaho right now.
In another life, I was definitely this guy.
Have you moved? How come you didn't mention any of that in your 1 minute life story earlier?
You know what? It was just too much.
You're like an onion, Steve Hobbs. One day you're running for governor of Washington. Then another day you're running outdoors in the mountains of the backcountry of Idaho.
You know, I burned a lot of bridges in Idaho. You know, I accidentally hit a wildcat. Once you've killed a puma, they don't like you anymore in Idaho.
Well, there's only so many, right? So once you kill one of them, that leaves only like 2 or 3 left. So
they're very protective of their pumas and their potatoes. And I ate a lot of potatoes and I killed a lot of pumas.
So moving on.
Is it weird that I feel the urge to like sing during those little bass breaks?
That's the reason that they're there.
Yeah, a lot of pumas.
Let's do it. A little more.
Never killed a lot of pumas. Little wildcats can fight back for themselves.
Potatoes and pumas.
Potatoes and pumas.
All right. So next website I came across.
Yeah.
This one, apparently, Steve Hobbs is also a world-class jazz vibraphonist, which I believe is like sort of like a xylophone, but it's a vibraphone.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, man, once again, kudos to you. And jazz reminded me of jazz vibraphone in my head reminded me of jazz flute, and jazz flute I thought of because when I actually first met you, it was in a live version of Anchorman, which we were doing for a show called Secret Sessions. And they do shows called The Movie Experience where they take a movie and they take live actors and they kind of meld them together. So you go watch the movie and the movie pauses, and the actors come out and play out a scene, and then we walk away and the movie comes back on. And it's very immersive, and they set up the set like that. And Steve, when I met him, played, I would say, other than Ron Burgundy, I can't see anyone ever playing Ron Burgundy better than someone I saw play. To the point, I'm what do they call it? I'm not blowing smoke up your ass here, but I'm stroking you here a little bit, but it's all.
No, I actually agree with you. I think we played it into the ground. I don't think anyone else can come back to Ron Burgundy.
It's all warranted. When I met you on that, I was like, this is the funniest guy that I've ever met. I felt that way. And I consider myself a pretty funny guy and a talented guy. And I was like, oh, I see. I watched you every night as Ron Burgundy improvise and just go off as good as Will Ferrell did as Ron Burgundy in unlimited, like you never would run out of things to say. And every time it was fucking hilarious. So you killed me in that.
Oh, thanks, man.
To the point, what happened was I auditioned for both. I auditioned for a few. I ended up playing what's his name? Now I can't even remember his name. Paul Rudd's
played Frank.
Paul Rudd's character. What's his name?
Fontana.
Oh yeah, Brian Fontana. Yeah,
Brian Fontana. Not Frank.
Yeah, Brian Fontana.
No, Frank is.
And but when I auditioned, and then when I met you, like everyone would want, like if you're a comedian, you'd want to play Will Ferrell, you'd want to play Anchorman if you can pull it off. And when we met at the first rehearsal, I was like, oh, that makes sense. You fucking nailed it, man. You nailed it. So what I would like, oh, it was so funny. You fucking crushed it. And so in the show, there was the scene, the jazz flute scene. Steve was, you were just air fluting, but you were running up and down the aisles, sliding. You were stepping over people on their chairs, sliding under their chairs. Like
that was such a positive experience doing all those bits, like working with you guys too. It's rare that for a show, I was like, because it was the first one too of the Secret Sessions shows, the whole film experience gimmick, where in the back of my brain, I was like, is this going to work? Is this going to be fun? And then as soon as I met you guys, as soon as I met you and Will Conlon as Brick, and I already knew Matt Nadeau, but we hadn't worked together closely before, and with him, just like the perfect champ. Like you guys were also well cast.
Everyone was amazing. It was so good. His champ was so fucking good.
I think you even had like the hardest job of the four of us, because you, in terms of physical appearance casting, looked the least like their source character,
right? And
yet you charmed the hell out of everyone anyway,
right?
Which was very, very fun for me. We obviously became friends right away.
Right. Yeah. I had the long locks going on, and just
you were like it was like 3 Anchorman characters, and then just like like a Point Break.
right.
You had like a hint of Beach guy too, and I was like, it took me a minute where I was like throwing me for a loop. I'm like, what we got blonde Fontana over here. What's his Sex Panther gonna be like? And you know what? It was great. You had the best Sex Panther around, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah. We all got to sing. We got to sing a little Sky Rockets in Flight.
Yep.
It was
Afternoon Delight.
That was great.
Actually, a friend of mine really wanted me to do this this interview as Ron Burgundy. They thought it would be a fun bit with the fireplace.
Well, we can
I reneged, but
we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. What I would like you to do is I would like you to read jazz vibraphonist Steve Hobbs' bio as Ron Burgundy. So I'm going to pull it back.
You found he's the real obstacle for me online, because he snagged up stevehobbs.com. So I had to, when I just made my website, finally polished it up and got the domain name proper style, I had to take steve-hobbs.com.
Because of this guy? Because of Steve Hobbs vibraphonist?
Yeah, because the musician, the vibraphonist. I
Wow.
don't even know how much he vibraphones. Maybe he's done. Maybe he's a retired vibraphonist. But he's got the domain. He's got stevehobbs.com.
You got to message him.
Maybe. I don't know. I was reading up on it. There's a service, there's brokers for this stuff where you can hire a third party
Right.
who will act as like a mediator to like help make a pitch, help you like broker buying their website domain from them.
Because the more and more famous you get, the more and more traffic he'll siphon off, because everyone will go to stevehobbs.com first. And then, you know, so yeah, you got to talk to this guy. All right, so hit it. Let's hear it. Ron Burgundy, that's the bio of vibraphonist Steve
Can
Hobbs.
you expand it a little bigger?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like on my side, it's pretty petite.
So how's that?
Okay, the window expanded. Can you like zoom in on it a little?
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. There we go.
How's that?
That's perfect. Thank you.
All right.
All right. All right, here we go. Hello, world. I've got a biography that you've got to be prepared for because it's coming to you right now. One of the more talented vibraphonists to come up in the late 80s, Steve Hobbs' style is bop-based but fairly original. He studied at Berkeley, the University of Miami, and the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley, and freelanced in Denver for 6 years with such players as Tom Harrell, Joe Bonner, Spike Robinson, and Styx Hooper, the man himself. Hobbs eventually moved back to Raleigh, where he works as an educator, but keeps up an active performance schedule. He is recorded as a leader for Sexton, possibly pronounced Kexton, timeless and candid. I'm Ron Burgundy, Steve Hobbs, pretty cool guy.
Oh.
You have to imagine that with just the mustache and the goatees.
Now
And like the underside of the beard.
let's go to the real one. What's the new one? stevehobbs.com.
Steve-Hobbs.com.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the real guy.
Steve-Hobbs.
Well, that's this real guy. Technically, all these guys are real guys, but
I like the dash.
as long as all these guys stay away from acting in Toronto, I'm probably okay.
There he is. There he is.
Yeah, look at him with that mile-long
Actor,
stare.
entertainer, MC events, host, improv, comedian, instructor, governor of Washington, home builder, jazz vibraphonist. So many
All
things.
the above.
There he is. Look at you. That's a Colin Josty looking headshot right there. You clean up nice.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that.
There he is.
I mean, I have mixed feelings about Colin Jost because, he's Scarlett Johansson, but yeah.
Right. There. Look at all the many looks.
Talented guy.
Steve without a beard, Steve with a beard. Steve.
Those are all 6 of the only character looks I know how to do, by the way. There's James Bond, everyone's favorite sitcom dad, sneezing guy. You'd be surprised what a wide demographic that is.
I wasn't sure if it was sneezing guy or just punched in the nose guy. I wasn't.
It doubles as both. It happens equally often on screen. Smiling younger late 20s guy, bearded motorcyclist / B-level thug. That's the 5th photo there. And the final guy is kind of like schmoozy MC / bad stand-up comedian.
Right. It's great.
Which the last one is actually kind of, it's both the character and the truth. If you ever want to book me for like MCing a thing, which I do with equal parts schmooze and comedy. In fact, I do, even despite I should promote it because that's the thing to do. Even despite all the lockdown and staying at home or quarantining or whatever, I'm doing trivia online on Monday nights as part of Loon's Pub. They've got a trivia night that they used to have in pub on Monday nights. We've moved that online. We do a Zoom broadcast at 8 p.m. every Monday night, 8 to 10, and I'm like the Zoom host to do all the production stuff. Kind of like what you're doing right now.
Yes, and I have had the pleasure of being fill-in quiz master for Steve. Steve is the quiz master, the original OG quiz master, but several times when you've been booked on other gigs, I've had the pleasure of filling in. Those are fun, man. I love doing that. So
yeah, you're great too.
yeah, it was really good. I just run it like a
I know.
game
Sadly,
show.
the other bars did not follow suit. Only the one has gone online. But yeah, it's busy, man. It's if ever it comes up where my computer is on fire that day, maybe you should step in and sub sometime. It's pretty fun.
Feel free. Yeah, feel free.
Yeah.
I can master a quiz, let me tell you. And look, you can see there's Ron Burgundy if you still look on the screen. I
Yeah.
believe in a glass case of emotion right there.
Hiding in the background there. See that MC/hosting thing? That's one of the ways that if you clicked on that button, or if anyone at home ever clicks on that button,
Right.
that's one of the ways you can find out kind of the stuff that I do for MC hosting. But also, if you want to contact me, it mentions my entertainment email in there for booking.
Luna's barking at somebody.
Is she
and
barking in
remember,
approval of the website, or like out of criticism, like a constructive? Because I'm always open to dog
I
critique.
think it looks great, man. I would look at it on. I always look at stuff on mobile first, but I'm assuming it's mobile responsive. But yeah,
I have also customized it for mobile. It's looking good for both.
there's your face, your bio, all your stuff. It looks slick, looks professional, good pictures,
bud.
all your contact info. Seems to do it for me. Yeah, yeah. Be sure not to go to stevehobbs.com. If you're listening, it's steve-hobbs.com.
That's the guy.
He gets angry when you mix them up. So, all right, I want to move on. Sort of a more of a not totally rapid fire, like it's not like 10 questions in 10 seconds or anything, but sort of some random questions that might unearth some other interesting facts about you. How's your lunch coming along?
I'm finished the kielbasa. I mean, technically, I have more that I can come back to if I'm peckish, but I already finished my mandated slices, and the lemon meringue is gone. I've just got a trickle of coffee left in the mug, and that's pretty much it.
You're mandated. Are you working on a kielbasa and lemon meringue? What do you call it when you ration? Yeah, are you rationing lemon meringue pie and kielbasa 3 slices a day? That's what
It's kind of like a keto-esque diet where I take just like the right amount of cured meats mixed with a series of pies. I juggle that on a daily basis.
What a life you lead. I'm so impressed.
Well, I'm not just going to eat a tuna sandwich next to a big old fireplace like this, you know?
Right. What about some oatmeal with peanut butter in it and a black coffee?
Loris, I don't have any mice. It's we're fine. We're
good. Okay. All right. Let's answer some questions here. Do you have a favorite pump up song?
Yeah, sometimes.
What's your go-to pump up song?
I have a couple.
Something that you'd open a show with.
Okay, a couple that I like to. Here's literally my favorite pump up songs. I'm a big fan of, if I want something that's like really like hard, like not just hard, but like hard, in terms of how hard it is, I'll go with something like Run the Jewels. Anything from RTJ3 is pretty good. But if I'm looking for something a little bit more family friendly, there's a few more boomers in there that don't know what a Run the Jewel is, things like that. I might go with like a Space Jam. I might even, if I really want to mix it up and have some fun, like a Tijuana Taxi. Or I'm a classic traditionalist when it comes to Macaron Chacarone. Are you familiar?
Wow. I see.
Macaron Chacarone's that one that like kind of sounds like gibberish almost.
Right.
It.
What about
I literally couldn't sing the lyrics to it, but it's kind of like
right.
like that kind of thing.
I like that one. That's good. That fires you up. Gibberish fires you up.
Yeah, not all the time, but yeah, it's a fire up jam for sure.
Do you have any odd abilities?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I'm just camera's sneaking around a little bit. Yeah, maybe not like odd, but yeah, I got a few.
What are your odd abilities?
Unique ones. There we go. I can juggle. That's kind of odd.
Prove it.
I don't really have any juggly things. What am I going to juggle a kielbasa in front of you?
Yes, that's exactly what I want you to juggle. Chris, provide some kielbasa juggling. music.
Okay, let me see. Sorry. What would I?
I mean,
Some circuit
okay.
song. Circuit song.
Oh yeah.
Wow, you can juggle. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean it's just one kielbasa, but you have to imagine that was three. That would have been really impressive. I can play guitar myself.
Yeah, that's not too odd. What about any weird? Do you have any weird? Can you do anything weird things with your body or make weird noises or anything?
I can weird noises. I can do the Elvis lip curl. Is that
Nice. Me too. Huh? That's good. All right.
I've got
Ding,
one that
ding.
I can't do that other people can. I can't snap my fingers.
Really? What's
Yeah.
wrong with you? What
It's
happened?
it's like I've got like too much padding. I've got really thick masculine hands, which
Yeah.
usually is like a plus. People are like, "Oh, hi, nice hands."
So so what happens? Your fingers don't like your fingers lack friction? I don't get it.
I get as much tension as I can, but I've got a bit of a loose double joint in here, and then I try and that's all I can get out of it. It's kind of like a lighter that won't start, just like a.
Wow. So you must have a terrible time at slam poet shows.
Yeah, I used to be in like a jazz choir in high school. I left that out of the 1 minute summary. And anytime we had a song like that where we had to snap at the same time, I had to make a choice to either like quietly slap my thigh at the exact same time or make a clicking sound with my mouth, like
You're like,
which
yeah.
is very distracting.
You're like, yeah, I can snap my fingers. We can see you doing it, Steve. We can
like there's no way to make a normal face after you make a clicking sound with your mouth.
When I was in grade 9 band, I played trombone, and there were 3 of us, 2 of my buddies, and we were doing it for the credit, but I think we had all decided we probably weren't going to be continuing to pursue a career as trombonists. So, but the weird thing about trombone is it's just like it's kind of feels like you find the spot, but none of us knew the songs. We wouldn't practice enough, so we'd be doing it, but then looking at our periph to see the other guy to see where his trombone slide was, and then kind of like matching it. Or if you really didn't know it, you would just not be blowing into it, but you'd be faking. And in a big band, one trombonist just air tromboning, you're not going to notice. Fun facts.
I'm sorry that trombone went so poorly for you.
Yeah, me too. Me too. If I had to stuck with it, man, I would be such a good tromboner. Do you have a least favorite sport?
Yes, I do.
Fire poking?
No, fire poking is a classic Hobbs one. I'm gonna say for least favorite, maybe soccer. Soccer's my least favorite to watch because of all the flipping and flopping, and also just for the camera work because it's such a broad space. They have to like be really zoomed out most of the time. So it's not. I feel like there's too many like spectator things working against it. That being said, I've never been to a live Toronto FC game, so maybe there's some magic there that I just haven't seen before. I don't know how the fire's going. As for sport that I like to play the least, maybe water polo, because like it's a lot of work, but you don't get anywhere fast.
Right. It's just tedious. You play water polo and you're like, guys, why are we doing this in the water?
Yeah, it's like we might as well play any sport, but just like in molasses or weighted shoes or with a guy on your back. You know,
we're making this unnecessarily difficult.
Yeah, I get it. I guess someone at some point was so bored with regular polo, or maybe because horses, it was like too much work. And I guess swimming is, good cardio, but
maybe they were bored with swimming.
Not enough results. Too much work for not enough results.
Right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Steve Hobbs, anti-water polo.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Toronto restaurant?
Favorite Toronto
Something you're
restaurants.
missing right now in lockdown?
I like a good brunch. I'm a bit of a brunch guy.
Your brunch
So
menu.
when I think about spots like Frankie's near Ossington and Queen for their eggs Benny menu,
Right, Frankie's is
or
lovely.
if we're even a level up from that, I would argue Chadwick's. Chadwick's is up at like Bathurst and DuPont. I miss
Oh, I know
Chadwick's.
Chadwick. Shout out to Cam Sedgwick, a buddy of ours is manager at Chadwick's.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, shout outs. Well done, Chad Sedgwick or Chadwick's, or is that named after
No,
him?
his name is Cam Sedgwick, but the place
Cam
is
Sedgwick.
Chadwick's. No relation.
If it was Chad Sedgwick, that would be a really weird coincidence if you didn't know.
Chadwick's.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
like your name is basically you're working where your name is. Also remember I made that Bob Hobbs reference earlier. My dad's name is Bob Hobbs. That's why I had
Bob
that weird
Hobbs.
rhyming moment. Yeah, you know, like Arrested Development has that joke Bob Loblaws as a character name.
Yeah,
That was like that's been my dad's whole life. His name's Bob Hobbs.
Bob Hobbs.
Yeah,
Bobby
Bob
Hobbsy.
Hobbs.
Bobby Hobbsy.
Yeah, sometimes we jokingly and affectionately call him Daddy Babobs.
Bob Hobbs.
Yeah, because it's like Bob Hobbs really fast. But it's like Dad Babobs. Daddy Babobs.
Bob Hobbs.
Yeah,
Bob
I like
Hobbs
that.
caught one.
Bob Hobbs. Bob
Cop
Hobbs.
one.
Cobbs.
Bob
I think
Hobbs.
that's another common Hobbs name. Bob Hobbs, Bob Hobbs, Rob Hobbs, Bob Hobbs.
Right. What's the background of Hobbs? Do you know?
England.
Okay.
Specifically, I think the most Hobbses in the UK are all in Wales. So, and I definitely do have some Welsh in my family too. I mean, they're all fading away now.
Do you know any Welsh? Do you know any Welsh words?
No, but as I've learned more so and more so, I think any kind of like hidden, not gibberish, but like kind of like Welsh in general is like a very thick. It's really hard to reproduce the Welsh accent. It's famously weird.
Kind of like Gaelic, right?
Yeah, and I
Well-
think there's like some Hobbs isms in the way that we say things that might be hints of carryover from like the Welsh world.
Do you know any? Can you share
No.
some? You don't
No,
know
I
any.
couldn't possibly. I would be just disrespecting both Hobbs speak and Welsh speak if I tried to like honor
Right.
that.
Fair.
But
Thank you.
I can assure you, there's like it's insane. There's like 12. I think there's like 200 Hobbs families in name or something like that per country in the UK, except for in Wales where there's like 1,200, and also there's like a city named Hobbs. So
Wow. Well, you can never move there. You'll never get the right website there. It's all
yeah,
Steve
there's not a
underscore Hobbs 69.
I know. I'll be like the 2000 Hobbs website for sure.
So hard. Oh, let me guess. Your name's Steve Hobbs. Everyone's
My name is Hobbs. I live in Hobbs.
Hobbstown. Yeah,
Yeah, my dad's name is Bob's.
Bob's Hobbs. As a child, you don't have to name them, but did you ever have a childhood nemesis? Or like
Yeah.
an arch rival, somebody who just really got to you, somebody who grinded your gears, or who worse did something bad to you?
There was a bully in grade 4. This is as close to, well, actually, it's fine. There was a bully in grade 4. There's a bully in every grade. But I'll go further back than that. I will say nothing ever came of it, but I remember, I think he just like bad things. He went into like a negative life spiral. But there was in my neighborhood when I was in, like even before grade 4, I'm going to say I would have been like grade 2, grade 3. There was like a guy in the neighborhood that nobody liked very much. At least I didn't like him. His last name, I think, was like Vader or something. It rhymed with like Vader, like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And I think he was also maybe a Steve. He might have been like a Steve Vader, something like that. I don't remember. I'm sure he was actually probably a nice guy, but I was very sensitive. I was kind of a bulky kid back then, and he used to call me Bam Bam. Why this kid in like grade 5 or 6 was like interacting with me in grade 2, being like, "Hey, what's up, Bam Bam?" I have no idea.
Oh,
But,
wow.
Yeah.
And
But
he
it was one of those things where I think he'd like to tease me. And I was the oldest too, where it's like I had younger siblings, but I was the oldest, so I had to like kind of just like, be tough for myself if I was in the neighborhood. I'm sure I was getting a walk from my dad. I don't think I was in grade 2 walking around alone in a neighborhood. But yeah, Steve Bader, Called me Bam Bam, and back then didn't like it. I already knew I was kind of a big, husky kid,
Right.
and even though I think he meant it as a compliment because my arms looked big,
Right.
like I was like a tough kid, like really strong, because Bam Bam would just smash things all the time. Yeah, I didn't take it well. I was like, no, I hate this guy.
He just probably wasn't hugged enough, you know. He just needed love.
Or maybe he was just a big Flintstones fan.
Yeah, that could have been. Yeah, maybe you took it all wrong. You were like, he was like, why doesn't this kid like me? I keep calling him a beloved cartoon character.
Yeah, maybe he referred to his mom as Wilma. I have no idea. You're like, come on, mom, come on, Wilma, can I just have my dinner on time? I don't know.
Did you have imaginary friends as a kid?
No, I don't think I did.
Just real
But
friends.
maybe I should have, because there was times when I was lonely, like, because I was a weirdo. Like I remember trying to keep my brother up. He would get so angry that I was trying to keep him up. I was trying to get him to play chess with me when I was in like grade 3.
Hashtag gifted.
Yeah, I was a pretty big nerd. Was and is. But yeah, no imaginary friends. I had siblings. It was a little different. We had each other.
Right.
Plus, I had old fireplace over here.
You just play with the fire. Yeah. Yeah. No imaginary friends, but I played with fire every day. You were a little pyromaniac.
Yeah.
Chris can probably explain this better, but I had not one, not two, but I had a trifecta of imaginary friends. I can't remember if they were around at the same time or if it was just like what they'd come and go, but their names were Jam Pam, Elfie Jim, and Howard Johnson, or my
Elfie Jim?
Elfie, like elf, Alfie Jim.
Oh, okay.
Elfie. I don't know if it was Elfie, like a little elf, or Alfie, like Elf, the TV character.
No, you tended to wear an elf hat that we had from being in the Santa Claus parade. That was you wore a cowboy hat when you were Howard Johnson, and Jam Pam was just your psycho killer sandbox.
I wasn't them. They were my imaginary friends. Was I? Is that...
No. You were them sometimes. Sometimes if we came out and we said, like, Howard Johnson or something, you say, I'm not Howard Johnson, I'm Jam Pam.
Wow. That's the beginning of my performance days. I was going method.
I just want to clarify, is the Howard Johnson that you were the hotel guy?
Maybe. I feel like on a road trip somewhere with my parents sitting in the back seat, I looked out the window and saw the Howard Johnson hotel sign and just named.
And you're like, that guy'd be a great imaginary friend. He's got a hotel chain. He's got his whole life put together.
It was either the hotelier or the professional baseball player who played for the Mets. It was also a Howard Johnson third baseman.
I became Bumpus Ballfields from a street sign in Alaska.
Yeah.
That's where I picked that up.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Steve, we're coming down to the wire here. I know we all got to get back to other quarantine business. Couple last questions.
The fire's out of control.
The fire is dying. We're out of kielbasa. I'm out of mouse food. But I'm not quite out of coffee. But first of all, this has been a pleasure. You're clearly a distinguished gentleman. I have had to reconsider my entire setup and life after seeing how you operate in quarantine over there. And, but a couple of final questions is, if you were your own life coach, what would you tell yourself?
I don't know, something along the lines of, some of us, are born with more than others. Some of us are born with less. Some of us aren't even born. Mammals birth, organically, like in one way, and then birds do a different thing with eggs. It doesn't matter how you get here, but once you're here, you gotta figure it out. Is that good advice? Is that?
I hope you're not charging yourself too much. But,
No, let me try again.
You can be sincere as well.
The birds and the bees,
Oh, here we go.
they both like their honey. But you know what? Without a little peanut butter to go opposite it, you got yourself a pretty plain sandwich. So, diversity. Is that better?
Yes. Yeah, I think you just gave yourself the advice to eat more diverse sandwiches, which is good advice when you think about it. Maybe you're speaking in metaphors. When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
You know, a nickel back makes for a bad band, but a quarterback makes for a great football player.
Nice.
So,
good.
Think about that.
That's good. I think they're a decent band, but that's just me. All right.
You think Nickelback's a decent band?
So what of course they got tons of great songs. I never jumped on board the Nickelback hating.
We should wrap this up.
I'm sorry, man. What?
Yeah. Oh, you're breaking up. Sorry. What?
What was Lars's? You'll be like, what was Lars's cancel moment? You're never gonna believe it. He admitted to liking Nickelback. Never worked again. We'll link you up. The best place is Instagram to connect with you. Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
Nice.
Instagram. That is. Oh, do I even remember what my handle is?
Oh, we'll link it up. We got it all. Hobbs,
just link it up. Also, I think I forgot to send you my Facebook. But you know what? My Facebook is, although a great way to make friends with me, not best from like a promotional aspect. So yeah, Instagram and Twitter are kind of like, if anyone just wants to check out my stuff or see updates on my work life.
Better yet, just go to steve-hobbs.com.
Yeah,
Steve-Hobbs. Don't go to stevehobbs.com unless you want to see one hell of a jazz vibraphone.
Yeah, stop saying it. Stop promoting it. Steve-Hobbs. Put the dash in there. That's me. I'm the dash.
I hope this happens for your whole career. I want to see you on Conan and Fallon having to explain that you're not a jazz vibraphonist forever.
I mean, I could be. That's what I got to do. I've got to out vibraphone that guy.
Yeah.
And then he's done. He'll just fade into obscurity.
Well, Chris is a professional musician here, so maybe message him afterwards and connect, and maybe he can connect you with some vibraphone tips.
If you want to just start with like water-filled mason jars, that's kind of vibey, marimba, that kind of.
Sure, I'd love to marimba. Sounds delicious.
He's into that too. The other Steve Hobbs, he does marimba. It's in his bio.
Ah, damn it! He's so fast.
Yes. So we will connect with you. What's next for you after this, either today or what's the next project in the hopper? I know things are weird because we're kind of locked down, but obviously
things are weird. Technically, this is what's next. Like maybe building another fire. I've got some pudding in the fridge.
More kielbasa.
After that, though, and even though at home I'm a bit of a gross human covered in sweaters and cardigans right now. Online and on the television, there's still things happening. Mrs. America, if you missed the first episode, that's the new TV show with Kate Blanchett, and John Slattery and Rose Byrne and a billion other wonderful people. Uzo Aduba. I'm in a scene in episode 1 that just came out on Wednesday. Just briefly, just like a little expositional line, but I'm visible in that, interviewing Uzo Aduba with Kate Blanchett. And then next month, I believe, I am appearing in an episode of What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes, and we got to mention that. I'm glad you brought that up. I was about to. You did something that is going to blow so many nerds' minds right now.
Yes, I don't know if I'm allowed to promote who's in that episode, like the special guest star yet, but I will say that it is somewhat science fiction-y, and it's someone that I was very proud to meet.
Thanks for stopping me. Yeah, sometimes we're not technically able to say something until it's out. So
I don't, because they haven't put out any promo material with that person, right? So I don't think I can say it.
Right. Let's just say this guy, if you were to go to Comic-Cons, it would blow your mind that he's there. So yeah, you'll see it. And What We Do in the Shadows is a friggin' hilarious show for those.
Oh, it's so funny. Anything like even remotely connected to Taika Waititi is hilarious. But this is actually as far as adaptations go, like a very, very funny show.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
pumped. I was pumped to hear that you did that. That's amazing. So
Thanks,
yes,
buddy.
yes.
Yeah, me too.
All
And
right.
in the far distant future, once all this quarantine stuff is behind us too, I had a theater show get interrupted called Shakespeare. It's a play that is by Alain Mercia. I hope I'm not mispronouncing his last name. He's a great guy. He's very funny. He's connected to Montreal Sketch Fest, actually. But anyway, his play, this was the first time it was put up in Toronto at the Assembly Theatre. And I was one of their core cast members named Reg. It was my character name. We got interrupted because of all the things evolving back when this stuff was all just beginning in terms of quarantine, 2 days into the show run. But we are intending to put it up again. I've talked to our producers at Assembly, and we're supposed to be putting it up again, hopefully, knock on wood, by the fall. So sometime, whether that's September or October, we'll see where the chips land and what the cards are come like in terms of all of this. But knock on wood, it should be back up there. And also in the meantime, if you're a fan of that style of theater, I know Assembly Theater is taking donations right now. They are having a very tough time. Indie theater companies in general are very vulnerable to shutting down because they're a not-for-profit Assembly, so they don't have like a piggy bank to tap when everything is shut down and all their bookings get canceled. So if you're a fan of the arts and you can afford to put any money towards that kind of stuff, feel free to check their GoFundMe. That's Assembly Theater. They're based out of Parkdale. Great theater space.
Right.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, that's a great thing to say for artists and for the theater companies right now. Obviously, none of that's happening.
Yeah, artists too, big time.
A lot of theater companies you can buy tickets right now that they'll honor once things are back up. So if you do have the money coming in, that's a good shout out for them. So thank you, Steve.
Also a big fan of Laughing Vikings. Lars, your self-tape services, buddy, top notch. You know, I've booked with Lars before and it's gone well. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's always nice to have you here. We're obviously shut down for that for the most part. We've done some virtual Zoom ones, but
that's fun.
I think when we do get back, the silver lining is we'll be busy because there'll be tons of self-tapes. Because we'll be so backlogged. But this has been a pleasure, Steve. Thank you for having lunch, fireside with me today. I think you've won a lot of things. Most distinguished guest, best set, maybe best meal with the kielbasa. So kudos to you. And sincerely, you are one of the most talented. You're one of the funniest people that I've ever met. Your talent is fucking ridiculous. So I'm excited to continue to see the things that you do. And I'm excited to actually work with you and be on stage again. It'd be fun to.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully that's sooner than later. Yeah, I know my life coach quotes are terrible, but I will say doing stage stuff is healthy for my soul to just get out there and do some shows and really just get back to expressing myself. You know, just online trivia is great, but it's not the same. You know, I miss working with you and working with so many great people and doing art on stage. So hopefully we can get back to that soon.
Soon enough. So final question before Chris plays us out is, Steve, how was your lunch?
My lunch was fantastic. Thank you for asking. The kielbasa, 7 out of 10. I did get it in the on the way out of the store. But yeah, in general, you know, good pie, good chats, good meal, good fire. No complaints.
There you had it, folks. This has been Lunch with Looney and Lars with our guest, Steve Hobbs. Thank you so much. Listen to the next one. Hit us up everywhere at Laughing Vikings on Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, mostly Instagram and Facebook. Or if you're a super fan of the show, you can check out our patronage hub at patreon.com/laughingvikings. And you can see how to be a member, or if you're a business owner, you can see how to set up a partnership with us as well. All right. It's been amazing. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Play us out, please.
Really got to get in there if you want the fire to come on. This doesn't want to go sometimes. You don't know how to stoke a fire.